By playing Love and Deepspace, I think I've cracked the code for building new habits. The story started on a cozy weekend. Like any typical gaming couples, my partner and I were staring at our own screens. Out of nowhere, he said, "I can't believe it. Apparently, a random dating simulator has topped the mobile game revenue chart. It earned more money than my Wife Gacha #1 and Wife Gacha #2. I glanced at his screen and saw the chart. The top game was Love and Deepspace. I've heard of it, but I've never played because I am a gamer with rules. First, I don't play mobile games because I worked at a mobile game company and work traumatized me. Second, I don't play visual novels because I was a literature major and long text traumatized me. And third, I don't play gacha games because I am a hoarder and my wallet is traumatized of me. But on that day, my curiosity was up. From what I've heard, Deepspace has interesting stories. But since it's popular, I'm pretty sure those stories are all over the internet. Why would people still spend so much money? I wanted to find out, so I downloaded the game. Note to the future me. Rules were established for a reason. The younger and more sophisticated me had it all planned out, but the aged and dumber me just decided to break them all to be poor and miserable. But it's too late. Now, on top of triggering my existing traumas, I also have to date 5 hot guys at once. How despicable and foolish of me. Seriously speaking though, I was right about myself. I don't think I'm having that much of fun in Deepspace to justify spending so much energy. Like most gacha games, Deepspace is a blend of many genres. The core is visual novel, but there is also an action-based battle system, a dress-up system for you to take pictures, and a bunch of mini-games. From a gameplay perspective, I don't feel anything has truly stood out. I thought I would delete it after a few hours, but months later, I was horrified to find out that I have broken my personal record on doing something continuously every day. I have been playing Deepspace every day for 120 days. For your reference, my highest Duolingo streak was 18, and my workout streak was definitely in the single digits. Apart from unavoidable things like eating and working, I can't think of anything that I could keep doing every day for this long. For years, I've justified my incapability of continuing stuff as I am a sprinter, not a marathon runner. I just get burned out from repetition very easily, and I learned to give up the wishful thinking of writing journals, working out, and studying a foreign language every day. Deepspace has proved me wrong. It turns out that I can be a marathon runner, at least for hot guys with superpowers. I know, how despicable and foolish of me. Had I known that I possessed this unexplored potential, I would have built so many S-tier habits. And by my current age, I could have become so fit, so rich, and so smart. I told myself, don't despair, middle-aged woman. If you can crack the code of Deepspace and master the power of habit building from now on, you might still be able to impress on your next school reunion. After doing some serious studying, I realized that Deepspace is possibly hitting every sweet spot of habit building, at least for me. To develop a new habit, there is a 3-step loop of trigger, action, reward. If you repeat this loop for some time, it will turn into a habit. In my case, I started playing Deepspace while brushing teeth without realizing it would become a trigger. I did it because the length of the story chapters happened to be just right for flossing and brushing. It was not a deliberate choice, but now when I head to the sink to get ready to sleep, it felt natural to watch some bedtime fairy tales of dragons, mermen, beasts, and cats. So rule number 1, pair the new habit with something you already do. If you have to get out of your way and be ultra concentrated since the beginning, it's less likely to stick. With the trigger set, now we can move on to the action part. Like I already explained, I don't necessarily love the gameplay of Deepspace, but there's one thing that works very well for me. It is fast and not painful. If your goal is to finish the dailies, you can just do some quick clicks and skip all the battles. You know what this feels like? It feels like getting hired for a boring job, but at least no one bothers me at work and I'm getting paid in the forms of flirting with hot guys. Sure, boring stuff, but there are worse jobs out there. So here is a habit building rule number 2. Make it painless and make it fast. Remember, to build a habit is to step out of your autopiloting program, and this takes stamina. You only get a tiny bit of daily free recharge, and if you want extra, you have to pay. Now we can finally talk about reward. It's possibly the most important piece of the habit building process, but when it comes to Deepspace, I really don't know what is actually keeping me playing. Sure, it has some good-looking guys with abs, but I refuse to acknowledge that I am this shallow. I started observing myself on how I spent time in Deepspace, and to my dismay, I landed on a darker truth that was even harder to acknowledge than being a six-pack enthusiast. I think there must be a part of me that was craving for social interactions. And the game provided some feelings of connections, and that became the reward in my habit loop. I came to this conclusion because the function I used the most in Deepspace was the interaction part. The characters text you on a daily basis. They also call you on video and post on their own social media for things you've done together. There's also this other panel where you can interact with them, tell them things, ask them questions, let them remind you of things, etc. The top feature that I use here is this thing called quality time, which basically turns those dudes into a Pomodoro timer. It's much nicer than a kitchen tomato timer because first, who doesn't like good-looking people working next to you? Second, your phone is occupied so you can't check social media every 5 minutes. And third, your phone battery depletes fast. Those heroes are saving you from the biggest distraction of your life. And thanks to them, you will finally be able to get your work done. How brilliant. I know the whole thing might sound a bit silly, but having someone who is always there, being patient, constant, and doesn't need too much attention from you is nice. It's like traveling with Pokemon or building the island with villagers in Animal Crossing. The essence is companionship. I felt a bit pathetic. I mean, there are 8 billion people in this world, and yet there is me seeking connections from some 3D models with voice lines. But the contradiction is that while companionship is nice, I also do not want to have those companions in real life. Think about it. If I really had to take care of hundreds of animals or chase after my neighbors to give them gifts and hear them gossiping about everyone in the neighborhood, I would go mad. Similarly, if those dudes from Deepspace are real humans, I won't be able to hang up on their calls and resume the next day like nothing's happened. Real connections take a lot of work to build and maintain, and it is draining if you have too many. But virtual ones that only want to get a little bit of money out of you to crowdfund some cosplay costume? Why not? It's like drinking diet soda or decaf coffee. You know it's not the real thing, but your brain takes it anyway. Going back to the habit building topic, if the reward I'm getting from Deepspace is a sense of connection, it means that habits are easier to form if there's someone else involved in the process. If the action you're taking is not only about yourself, but also about other people, you're more likely to be motivated. It makes sense. Instead of working out by yourself, having a buddy or a trainer helps. Instead of learning a foreign language by yourself, having a friend who speaks that language helps. We're just lonely all the time, and connections with others are strong driving forces. It's that simple. Well, I literally couldn't have arrived at a more useless conclusion for myself because I've just told you that I hate socializing with real people. No wonder I've failed every single time. My dream of becoming rich, fit, and smart for the next school reunion is pretty much shattered because I'm not even going. But yours doesn't have to be. Get some people involved when building your next habit. And who knows, it might work better than you think.